is our first webinar of 2022, and we thought we would jumpstart it off with warehouse management transformation, getting you kind of thinking about what that could look like for your organization, things to think about when looking at that, and also just kind of a quick overview of a solution that we recommend and implement at Third Wave. So with us today we have Aaron from WISIS and myself, Tyson McMurrin, as I mentioned. And our agenda today is we're just going to talk about some of the trends we've seen with COVID. We're going to talk about jumpstarting your warehouse. We're going to talk about things to consider when looking to implement a warehouse management solution, tactics to realize quick gains, and then Aaron's going to walk us through a software overview. So welcome, Aaron, first webinar of 2022, and we really thank you here at Third Wave for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to review today with everyone and get people thinking.
Excellent. And just for everybody that is in the call today, we are recording it. We will be sending a link to the recording after this call, and generally we'll also put it out on our YouTube channel. So if you have to go and deal with something, we totally understand. You know, it's the beginning of the year. You know, a lot of things kind of come up, and we certainly will be recording and we'll be emailing you a link. So without further ado, I just want to quickly talk about Third Wave and kind of what our focus is. And we call it the 4 Cs for SAP Business One. And those 4 Cs are effectively the core being SAP Business One, being able to communicate with anyone, and you can access, update, and process data from anywhere while staying in lockstep with the core system. That the system is effectively mapped into your core system, and any systems that are outside, similar to what we're going to be looking at today, like a WMS, that they're connected and mapped properly. So over here you can see like e-commerce EDI, CRM systems, LTL solutions, WMS, and today Aaron will actually be covering off both kind of an LTL side of being able to do some fulfillment, and also the warehouse management side of it. And ultimately, we want all parts of your business to be in control with predictable results. And we know that predictable results are something that is certainly been difficult to manage over the last 2 years with COVID-19. And Aaron, I know you and we talked about these 2021 pillars, but this is what we saw at Third Wave, and I would imagine that there's a little bit of head nodding in regards to when we cover off this slide. But one of the main focuses with kind of everybody working from home, you know, when the lockdown kind of started, it was all about data. You know, is it accurate? Is it accessible? Is it timely? And we have a couple slides that we'll jump through, Aaron, talking about that. And then the next thing that came up was this pivot to e-commerce and payments. So being able to like integrate and automate things that typically you would be doing within the 4 walls of an office, like entering an e-commerce order. Now all of a sudden, with the volume that was going through e-commerce, and also with the employees not being in the physical 4 walls of the business, e-commerce integration became something that was really in the forefront, especially early 2021. If you're still looking for e-commerce integration solutions, reach out to me, and I'll talk a little bit later about some of the things that we've seen. The other thing that we spent a lot of time in late 2020, 2021 working with our customers on was just helping them with like change management and helping them with strategies to pivot and adapt to kind of what we would call the new normal. And Aaron, I don't know at WISIS if these are kind of similar things that we're seeing in regards to pivoting and you know.
Yeah, these are some great points, and these are exactly reflected into what we do here at WISIS. I mean, when you talk about the integration and automation, not only yourself as a company, but your vendors and your customers are doing this as well. So We see that, from all points of business here, whether it's B2B or B2C. Pivot and adapt is our motto for the last 24 months. We've had customers and prospects being reactive, and then now people are becoming more proactive in making decisions on how to pivot their business. And one way WISIS can help you become more efficient and more accurate too. That's that's what we're here to help you do, is to help you make those decisions to pivot and adapt to the current, whether it's work from home or if it's just new processes and new requirements by your customers and partners.
Yeah. So Aaron, this is my predictions for 2022 in regards to what I think the SME space is going to be facing, and that is, obviously the first webinar of the year, we're talking about automating back office and operations supply chain. This is going to be a theme that, like you said, there were a lot of people that kind of just sat on the edge, just kind of watching what was going on, and the realization that, the supply chain is super slow, and just being able to process things faster, getting visibility to your information in real time is becoming really critical, because available to promise, fulfilling Amazon orders, fulfilling Wayfair orders, just that whole fulfillment needs to go really, really fast, compared to 2019, when you were doing like bulk orders from your customer and then dropping it to their warehouse. Now you're doing like multiple sales channels, drop ship orders on behalf of other customers. There's just a lot of moving pieces. Another area in 2022 that we're already seeing people asking us about is, how do we react to inflation, and how do we get landed cost updated in the system? What are the pricing strategies that we can kind of do in order to update our prices and communicate those updates to our customers? And the reality is like, we're going to be in probably at least the first quarter for sure, this period of time where reacting to inflation is going to be critical. A pallet that used to cost $3-4 is now costing $12 to $15. Just an example of some landed costs, let alone these shipping costs are increasing and increasing. And the reality of all this is the U.S. government's even recognizing this, because now they have a supply chain index that's looking at the supply chain stress. So that's an area that, if you want to talk to me about how to do landed costs, pricing strategies, those types of things. Our last webinar, we talked about container management. If you're interested in container management, reach out to me. I can send you the recording on that. Another area that we're seeing our customers reaching out to us is data normalization. So just, how can we forecast and, put out our purchase orders and the timelines regarding that, and budgeting and even revenue recognition, with customers that take deposits and are waiting for certain major components to arrive in order to do milestone billing, and you're missing those milestones because of the supply chain. This data normalization is going to be a big thing to get through. And then the last piece, Aaron, and I'm sure a lot of the customers that you're talking to, it's just, how do we keep employees?
Correct.
End of sentence, how do we keep employees, let alone further to that, how do we keep them engaged? How do we empower them, and how do we keep them employed? My neighbor 2 doors down manages a company, and they're looking for 34 open positions right now. And
oh man,
positions are back office type jobs. They're offering like $2,000 signing bonuses, and then as he's driving to work, his neighbor next door has got like a $3,000 signing out front. So
that is the new normal now.
Yeah.
I had a lot of time that reviewing PowerPoint that we're doing today, I had a lot of time to review this 2022, and I took this internally with my team, and we based a lot about your first point, the streamlining and automating. And you know, of course, this is what we do as WISIS, but I believe that the more you can streamline, the more things you can automate, the more time you have to reflect on the other three areas here. You know, if you're getting good data entered in with a WMS or another solution that does data entry, if you're getting good data, you're able to focus on these other portions like landed costs. You'll be able to make business decisions based on accurate data that you're getting. So, even with HR employees, I mean, you have a number of employees that you employ today. You have to be able to enable them and empower them with technology. With the limited employees that you do have, you need to find ways to reflect on all the other parts of these bullet points here, I believe. So, the more you can streamline, the more you can automate, the more that you can create certainty within your business of having the correct information, you're able to make decisions on these other 3 points easier, or even focus more on, obviously we know with your landed costs, I mean, margins are coming down. Like you said, pallets, they've almost doubled in price. So we need to focus on those areas, and then, obviously streamline operations, supply chain, and automating items to make that easier to work with the other 3 there in this spreadsheet here in this.
And one of the key things of landed costs, as you mentioned, is you need the inventory in your inventory system for you to actually put that valuation on it. So, getting the inventory into the system as fast as possible so you can, put your landed costs and all those types of things into it. Just that speed of entry becomes really important. And, a great segue into this slide, Aaron, which is, the traditional, as I was talking about my neighbor that's trying to fill 34 positions, so here's a traditional where you have 15 people in the front office and 75 people that are, back office, warehouse, manufacturing, shipping. And now the new normal of that is that, the 75 people might be 60 now, just because people are calling in sick, or, people just quit and you can't fill that position. And then the 15 people in the front office, half of them, or maybe even more than half of them, are working kind of like a flex calendar where they're maybe coming into the office 1 or 2 days a week. Some of them might be full remote, working, and not just working from home, working from anywhere. I had a call last week with a customer, and she was working out of Hawaii for 2 weeks. They took the family and went to Hawaii, and she's like, I'm working 4 in the morning till noon. And then I have the rest of the day with my family. So I think that's going to be a new normal. But the reality of this is the traditional flow of the AP, AR, GL type roles of front office people, and just taking that paperwork. You can't do that anymore, because that paper is going to sit for 2, 3, 4 days before it gets dealt with, and that's not going to help us with that real-time information that we were talking about.
And those days are over. Those days, I mean, are far gone, to where we're always going to have 15 people in the warehouse. But with the supply chain issues that everybody is realizing, and also Amazon effect, where shipping times are sped up, we need this information in real time, handled by the people that are handling the material. So as your segue into the next slide, here you go.
Exactly. So we'll talk a little bit later, Aaron, in regards to where to start and what to think about when transforming your warehouse. But this is just kind of giving the audience today an overview of how this actually works. So over on this side we have the different departments, and why don't you just step us through this, Aaron?
Yeah, no, so what's happening in this new world as we see it, and the new working model, is that formerly things happen in the front office. And again, where if you have the work from home or a flex schedule, you don't have those people readily available to do inventory transactions or any transactions within SAP within a couple of days. So we have taken that using handheld wireless computers And we've moved a lot of those functions that happened in the front office back to the point of first contact into the warehouse. So you'll see there'll be order entry done out in the shipping area. There's, manufacturer put away from a receiving product from a, from the dock. And all these transactions happen in real time with the handheld computer in SAP Business One, but out in the warehouse at the first touch point. So this is very important for accuracy and validity, right? So we're validating transactions in real time, things coming into your warehouse, and then the movements within that warehouse using handheld computers as well to do that. So the information from a front office person is these transactions are happening in real time, whether it's a CFO, a controller, all the way up to even a warehouse manager, being able to see real inventory movements, getting that inventory in stock, as you were saying, Tyson, in just-in-time inventories. These are critical hours that we have. These are critical hours that we have to get things out for shipping, whether it's from production, whether it's from a direct drop ship, where we need to get things out within 1 to 2 days, or a drop to consumer, right, to end user. So all these transactions are happening in real time on the warehouse or the operations floor.
And one of the things that I think is a WISIS differentiation is you don't just stop at the delivery. You see it right onto the truck and the bill of lading side of it.
Yeah.
And any of the ASNs, we can trigger the EDI to send the ASNs and the invoices and all that. And
That's absolutely correct.
Historically, this was kind of like the shipping office, quote unquote, that was handling all that paperwork. Now these trucks are flowing, the bill of lading being printed on demand versus this process where you would stage goods and then load and then do the bill of lading. A lot of this is happening a lot faster, which is streamlining and automating the warehouse operations as we talked about. The key thing.
And you can focus on the other things we talked about, like the employee enablement there, like the just eliminating steps to become more efficient and be able to focus on other areas that need more attention. You're able to, bring this down to skipping a few steps or at least consolidating and steps in this process. But yeah, shipping is a big part of WISIS and what we do all the way through to bill of lading, not just delivery, but providing shipping and that for customers with EDI and LTL.
Yeah, and I would imagine this slide that we're looking at right now is pretty much what your demo script is for today as well, is it not?
Yeah, we are going to follow with a demo script from receiving to put away and some inventory movements. I'll show you some highlights of WISIS and things that make us unique, like pallets, and then we'll go through all the way to picking and shipping. So a nice, simple workflow, but also showing you the flexibility of WISIS and what we can do to help you with your processes too. That they may be unique to you. Every company has some unique needs, and we'll show you how you can do that too.
Excellent. So, Aaron, I know you follow Third Wave's podcast, the 4 C's for
Yes, sir.
One. So just before I move this slide, we did 2 podcasts back in 2021. Episode 4 was looking for areas of disconnection. Being able to analyze them. And then episode 5 was benefits of real-time information. So if the audience is looking for a little bit more in regards to how to find these areas of disconnection, we have a couple podcast topics on that. The big one that we did, episode 13, we talked about change management, and episode 14, we talked about real-time inventory management, which is essentially building upon what we're talking about today. So why did I mention episode 13? Well, warehouse transformation starts with change. The decision to change what you're doing today is always one of the most difficult things to do. And fortunately or unfortunately, COVID has really kind of forced change in organizations. We talked about that pivoting, Aaron, and we're seeing our customers really kind of realizing that this new normal of staffing levels and the transaction volumes and types of transactions, that transformation does need to happen. And this is kind of one of the main things that we wanted to talk about in the podcast today are some of the things to ask if you're wanting to get serious about this change. Obviously, Aaron and I are always available. Just reach out to me, and we can have a meeting and we can talk specifically about your organization. But these are some of the things that the customers are asking, and one of the ones that's not on here, but I get asked all the time, is how do I turn on negative inventory? And and the reason that they want to do that is because the inventory movement isn't in lockstep with what's actually happening. So somebody's finishing a production order that has consumable goods in it, but you haven't received those consumable goods into the building yet. You can't back flush those goods into the production order because they're not quote unquote in stock. Or somebody's trying to ship goods out on a quick cross dock, right? This like fast cross-docking that we were just talking about, and they can't ship it because it's not in inventory, and it's not in inventory because we haven't done that receiving yet. So these are the things that we're seeing, but it really kind of comes down to, is this going to make us a better company? And is it going to help us serve our customer better? And is it going to contribute to shareholder wealth? Ultimately, when you're getting serious about change, as I mentioned, episode 13, I get deep into change management, and we help customers do this all the time. So if you're stuck in certain things, reach out to me. The other thing sometimes I might tell you is you don't need a WMS, because maybe something that you're doing isn't, it's so specific that maybe you don't need a full-blown WMS just to accomplish that. And we're going to cover that off, because how do I start? So when we talk with customers that are looking at transforming warehouse, one of the first things to think about is my warehouse organized and optimized, right? Like, so do we have racking? Do we have a structured area where we're receiving goods? And you saw that that shop floor layout at the beginning that Aaron and I were talking about. Do you have that structure set up, or do you have to get racking first? Or do you want to start with racking and not use bins? But what bins allow you to do is ensure that the right items are in the right place, which is going to eliminate errors, because the consistent flow of making sure that you're validating that you're getting these items from a certain location, and it's going to validate that that item is actually in that location, which leads to kind of the marking and barcoding, making sure that the barcodes are on your items, and maybe you need to work with your vendor to get them to put barcodes on your items to streamline your receiving. I know, Aaron, you're going to cover off printing off labels as you're receiving, because some vendors just aren't going to do that for you. Maybe you're
Correct.
in a C can of goods, and you need to mark it and put the barcodes on.
Yeah. Or you're manufacturing your own product that doesn't, you want to create your own labeling system for, you could do that as well. So yeah, that we'll talk a little bit about that in the demonstration.
Yeah, and then the bigger topic though is really around, if we're going to be barcode scanning and if we're going to be validating bin locations, there's some things to think about in regards to that. And what we did at Third Wave is we built a blog that talks about getting started with WMS. So you can see here the importance of bin locations, because what we can do with this is we can actually generate a pick list that's going to have somebody go down this row and then come back up this row, go down that row, so that you're kind of picking in an order that you're walking through the warehouse. so that you're not, starting here, grabbing that item, and then the next item on the pick list is way down, at the other end of the warehouse, so that you can actually, wave pick. And some of the picking strategies around that, maybe you have, 500 orders for the exact same item, so you can go and grab all 500 of those items and then bring them over to the packing area and sort that pick after you've done the pick. And Aaron, you're going to cover a lot of these topics, but that all starts with that warehouse organization and determining your bin locations. One of the other things you're going to see here is that there's labels underneath each of these areas, and those labels are the bin location labels, because you want to put those bin location labels in spots that you're actually scanning on. And Aaron, we're going to talk about scanners, and you're going to show a scanner.
Yeah.
But having a long range scanner is kind of important, because you don't want to do something like this where somebody could in error scan the wrong bin location just because they're all stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, right.
So the importance of being able to have the technology that can actually read that location, and those bin locations, actually on the bin location, and that scanning of real time is really important, which leads into the wireless infrastructure. And I know the WiSys solution runs on an Android device, so you could run it on a cell phone, like a data plan, but that could get expensive if everything you're doing is within your four walls. So making sure that your wireless environment is you have coverage throughout your whole organization. And there's things that might affect that coverage, like coolers and stacked pallets and metal, and there's all different types of things. So having somebody kind of go in and do a wireless site survey is highly recommended, because that's going to make sure that you have those proper points of scanning in real time. The other thing is that we get asked a lot about, Aaron, and I'm sure you get asked all the time, is what kind of scanner should I have? And really that comes down to a couple things. One is environment. Two is the type of picking. Like if you're picking things from a forklift and you're not hand picking, a handheld with a pistol grip probably makes the most sense with a long range scanner, like I mentioned. But if you're doing things that require your hands to be free and you want to, work faster, there's wearable devices. And then some customers, on a production line receiving from production, they just might want tablets, at the end of the line, where they're just, like a touch screen device where they're, basically, touching through, and maybe there's a Bluetooth scanner associated with it, to validate a lot number or a serial number or those types of things. And then printers, what kind of printer do you want? Zebra seems to kind of rise to the top on printers, Aaron. I don't know if you've seen many other devices out.
Yeah, we require, to print from WiSys barcodes and labels and things like that, we require a Zebra print language. So Zebra printers have been the most efficient, and quality wise they are probably ahead above other manufacturers there, but Zebra is the way to go there.
Mm-hmm. And that's the ZPL layout, the Zebra print layout.
Zebra print language.
It's a format for them to write to the label, and the reason that you want the Zebra print format is that it is way faster than spooling it through like a crystal report, something like that. So the volumes, like as we talked about in the PowerPoint, the how do I do big volumes? Well, those are some of the areas where you want to look at those things.
You might be printing 1,000 labels, right, for some of your products as a finished good, and you don't have the time to be waiting for those. So you're going to get that speed, the efficiency and speed from a Zebra print language, and just spit out those labels. Yeah, very well said on this whole topic, Tyson. The thing that I like to think about is, you're showing the bins, and it's all about becoming more efficient, right? It's all, getting organized will help you long term become more efficient, become faster at what you're doing. So yeah, all real well said there.
Right. So, if you go to our blog, we have lots of these blogs. As part of the email that we're going to send to the audience today, I'll include links to these two blogs here, and I'll also include links to the podcasts that I mentioned. Episode 11, Aaron, I talked about the history of barcodes because there
Yeah, I
are
remember that one.
a bunch of different barcode types and a bunch of different barcode layouts and formats. And depending on the industry that you're in, depending on if you're doing things like serial number or batch number, you might be dealing with, a UCC barcode,
Yeah, GS1.
a GS1 as they're called, or UCC. You might have a G10, you might have UPC 14. There's multiple different layouts, and it's important to get a handle on your types of barcodes because when you're doing the receiving, the barcodes are specific to pack sizes as well. So if you're receiving a carton, it might have a barcode on it for the carton, but when you scan an item, it might have an item code, and we can actually pick up those unit of measures as well, so that you can start to even streamline your warehouse even more so. Those are probably the things to really kind of think about when getting started. We made it easy and kind of built a blog for everybody to kind of step through. And like I said, we're only a phone call away if you need some help with it, which is exactly what we at Third Wave can do to help you, which is, our job is to make the change easier with minimal disruption or pain in your organization. And the other thing that I can't stress enough is just get started. And you don't have to do all those things that we covered off at the beginning. Maybe you just want to do receipt from production, or maybe you want to receive the goods in the warehouse faster, or maybe you just want to do the shipping side of it. Start with that. And that's identifying that area that's causing you the most pain, and then implementing that. And then you can go to the next phase of the warehouse project, and it's not really costing you anything extra in regards to hardware or software, because you've already kind of have the WMS solution and the hardware anyways. Just one of the other things to kind of note is if you are looking at barcode scanners and improving your warehouse, those electronic devices have been affected by the chip shortage. We have a couple of avenues to kind of help you source some scanners that aren't part of the chip shortage. So if you're having a hard time finding scanners, we can kind of help you out with that. Without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Aaron. Aaron's going to talk about WISIS. WISIS, and why do we work with WISIS? The reason we work with WISIS is it is a SAP Business One certified product. It works with HANA and SQL. It uses the SAP Business One object. So it's not a standalone WMS with an integration between the two. What we're doing is we're calling SAP Business One information. We're interacting with that information, and then we're writing that information back to SAP Business One in a real-time fashion. So things like the bin locations that you set up in SAP Business One, those are the bin locations that WISIS is actually talking to. It's not the WISIS bin location. And that's one of the nice things, is that not only does it create this environment where your SAP Business One environment can continuously be upgraded and supported. The other side of it is maybe there's functionality as you perform a pivot in your organization that you want to turn on as in regards to functionality in SAP Business One. Know that WISIS has got you covered on the back office side of that. Anything to add to this slide, Aaron?
No, that's perfectly well said there. knowing that WISIS is tightly coupled or integrated into SAP One, as we talked about earlier in the slide before, it's, you know, you can implement certain portions of WISIS without disrupting the other portions of your business. So, you know, adding certain areas of things that you want to automate can happen in small chunks or phases, we like to call them. But your operations will still continue today, along with adding, you know, automation with WISIS. So that was very well said. We've been around, so thank you very much, Tyson. I appreciate it. We've been around for 17 years now, and a couple other ERP solutions, and for about 7 years now, we've been working very closely, becoming certified in SAP Business One. WISIS has well over 550 customers now, with a wide variety of types of customers, from straight distribution to high-end manufacturing to food products, you know, all across the board. We are not we're not set to one particular industry. Our flexible tools will allow us to work with almost any company that has SAP Business One and wants to achieve that more accuracy, velocity, and efficiency there. So that's, you know, what we do today. Our solution now is, I don't know if you want to switch to the next slide there, if you have one. Oh, we're going to get into the demo now. So
I'm on here. There you go.
You got it. Let me share my screen here, make sure I have it. There we go. Can you see my screen with a handheld there?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So today we want to just take you through a high-level overview of what WISIS does, and a lot of the things we talked about earlier. You know, we're going to highlight some of those things, but WISIS is run on a handheld wireless computer, an Android device. And today on my screen here, you're seeing a Zebra MC9300 emulator. I am running this on my computer with a USB scanner to kind of go through and do a straight demonstration, like this would be on a handheld device at your facility. It is an Android APK that uses an IIS server to run direct integration into SAP Business One. On my screen today, you see many functions that WISIS provides. These functions can be limited or controlled by user. So everything you see here today may not be what every person or employee uses on the floor today. Those rules are set by SAP. Again, being integrated, you're setting rules within SAP to give access to certain functions to what employees can do on the screen here today. So what you're seeing is our distribution. I have every functionality of WISIS on that screen. We do have pallets that we're going to go through, and I'm going to touch on production for a second. But what I really want to do is show you the integration and validation of real-time data inventory transactions using WISIS. I'm going to go into my SAP Business One solution, and I do have some purchase orders and sales orders that we're going to be working with today. But first, what I'd like to do is just receive some items against a purchase order to create a goods receipt PO. I do have a purchase order here today of 1308. I'm going to bring up the handheld. Now today I want to show you through scanning the efficiency that you're going to get using WISIS and validate that. So when I click on a goods receipt PO, imagine me being at the receiving area with a truck coming in, and I'm going to receive goods. I have a few different ways I can do that, but I would like to scan this PO that I have, this 1308. I have a receiver document of some sort, or I'm going to show you real quick. So I'm going to scan that item. Notice you have a blue highlighted field here. What that's doing is validating within SAP B1 that I am scanning the correct information. If I clear that out and I scan the wrong item, notice it doesn't let me continue on the form that WISIS has provided to complete that document transaction. So I want to receive the items from this purchase order. I can also look that up so I can see all my open POs here, right? I can see that, or if it's written on my product, I could type it in here as well. But I like to scan, or I would like to scan to eliminate the tribal knowledge and have that accuracy of scanning. So my first order here, on my order, my first item, I'm going to scan Pepsi Cola. Notice that validates. This also handles units of measure. Tyson was talking about that earlier. So if I scan a certain barcode provided, whether it's a master carton, a case quantity, or a single UPC code, I can scan that and it will identify using B1 the quantities involved in that unit of measure. In this instance today, I'm going to be doing eaches. So I'm going to receive 500 of these products. So I'm going to type in 500 and hit the enter key. I'm going to do the next item, which is going to be on this one, Frito-Lay cheddar popcorn. Again, it validates that this is the accurate item in SAP, shows my vendors. I have a default bin set. So in this case, I like to receive the product and set it to my dock bin so that the truck can leave and go on its merry way. Again, I'm going to receive 500 of these. I can under-receive this product. I can set rules to allow me to over-receive. But again, we're trying to achieve accuracy here. So I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to do my final item on this PO, which is some rum, Captain Morgan rum. This is a manual unit of measure, but again, it could be case quantity, carton quantity, and I'm going to receive all 500 of these. I'm going to save it, and I am going to post this order, or this purchase order. What this will do, it will trigger an action in WISIS to post this goods receipt PO. I can even have it create the labels that I have. Now, this is showing to my screen, my hand held here, but this would produce a zebra label for this product if I require it. If I don't require it, I don't have to print a label, but in this instance, I want my own UPC codes. Each one of these items can have a single UPC code, or I could print one for every single item I received as well. WISIS does include with it a label design software, which you can create your own labeling system. You can create your own bin labels, aisle labels, all the labels that you might need to create barcodes with. You can design them within WISIS using SAP Business One data. So this will connect to the data within SAP, and you can create things from UDFs, UDTs, and take items of interest that you would like on here. So what I didn't show you there is that we do have the ability to do batch tracked items. If these items were batch tracked, it would show up on the form here, right? You see here that I have a batch label. If this was a batch tracked item in the item master in SAP Business One would identify that, it would require me to scan either a batch or enter in a batch for that product. Also works with serial numbers. WISIS handles serial numbers within that solution as well. So if you're receiving products that require serial numbers, you can do that. So what I've done here, let's go back to our SAP Business One database. So that purchase order here, if I were to refresh that, notice those have been received, this purchase order has been closed, I do a relationship map, and in real time it's created a goods receipt PO. So there's my goods receipt PO based on those items. 500 is actually put them to the dock area, and now we can do a put away. But what I'd like to show you before a put away is a little bit of the special sauce of WISIS and one thing that makes us unique. So the process that we just did today, the goods receipt PO, we have the ability with WISIS design tools, because WISIS is a tool set based solution. We have the ability to use our tools to be able to modify that form that you just saw to your company's needs. This is a huge deal for most of our customers. We understand that most of our customers do things unique, right? So here's that same form that we just saw. We saw a goods receipt PO there, right? I scan the order. We have the ability to adjust this form. We could create a form with additional fields and necessary items like UDFs, UDTs. I have a post button that you saw me push here on that goods receipt PO. It did three defined actions there. It posted from the preload, it received that goods receipt PO, and it created the labels for those items to be put on the items as I go to put those away. We have everything here is done using SQL or HANA database to utilize any of the information that we require on that form. So just think of anything that we do today has the ability to be tailored to your needs. So I just wanted to show you that a little bit before we got deeper in it. We'll hit this up again at the end, but just remember the way you're seeing it today may not be the way you do it, but we do have the ability to tailor these objects to do them the way you do them, or even help you improve those business processes. So a little more on the handheld. Let's go back to the handheld here. I apologize. Let's see here. So we go back to the handheld. We've done a goods receipt PO. I'd actually like to put away this product. Again, using bins and storage areas helps us become more accurate. I have a very good instance where I had a prospect that lost a customer because they could not find the product in the warehouse, and it was literally sitting in the warehouse in an undefined area, not registered or not entered into SAP Business One, and they lost a multi-million-dollar customer because they had missing inventory that they could not deliver within time. This is what we're helping you do. This is why binning and setting up organizing your warehouse is very important. We're going to eliminate those errors and help you focus on the things that you need to focus on in your business. So we're going to just do a quick put away here. Very easy. I want to put away these items there. So notice I have my default dock. I can change my defaults by warehouse, by dock area. I can have defaults by handhelds, but I'm just going to stick with this dock. I want to put away this Pepsi. It's going to validate that again. It's a single unit of measure. It's going to ask me a bin to put it away, and I'm going to put it away at the correct bin or available bin. We can also direct the put away, but right now I'm putting it in an open bin that I see has open area for this product. I'm going to hit save. Very easily, I've done a transaction with an SAP Business One. I have moved the product from the dock to its appropriate bin location. I have now visibility into that product being put away. Let's go to another thing. Let's do a warehouse transfer, or let's do a bin transfer. This is very valuable in cross-docking. So we can do a bin transfer from one item to from one area to another area very easily. I can take my rum that I have set up here, and I have it at that dock. So I'm going to actually look up an area here where I have it. So I know I have it sitting at the dock here. I have 500 at the dock. I'm going to move that to the staging bin because I know I have to immediately ship this product out, right? So I'm going to go to the staging bin, and I'm going to move all 500 pieces. Real-time inventory transaction. This information is available to your CFO, your warehouse manager, all in immediate feedback time. So you're not doing any polling or posting or synchronizing at night. This is all real time. Some different things. So basically what we've just done in a simple manner, we receive product, we put it away in the proper place in the warehouse. One feature of WISIS that I want to focus on here in a minute is Pallets. Pallets is a unique function to WISIS in our Enterprise Edition. This is going to create higher efficiency for you to build pallets, stock pallets for overstock, create mixed pallets, create a license plate for a definition or a number of items to a pallet that you can put together. You can drop those pallets for picking from, but this gives you a way of a single scan to identify everything on a pallet. I'm going to build some multiple pallets today, show you the efficiency of and accuracy and speed of what we can do with pallet management. So I want to make pallets for overstock of our Pepsi Cola. So I'm going to scan the product. I want to take that from that bin that I have those stored in, right? I'm going to put, these are eaches, so I'm going to just put, I'm going to do 100 on each pallet, and I'm going to do 10 pallets. Or let's just do 5 pallets here, sorry. I'm going to get ahead of myself here. Hit the save button, and what that's going to do, it's going to print a screen 5 unique pallet identifiers with the creation date and the quantity on those pallets. Now I have 5 pallets of Pepsi Cola that I can put away to overstock or leave in that bin, but have them palletize. This will come into play when we do shipping and an LTL truckload, if there is pallet quantities that can be shipped, or I can create mixed pallets, or I can build pallets during a shipment. But pallets is a very unique function to WISIS. It adds an additional packaging layer that allows us to move all this product with a single scan here. So this is the only barcode that you'll need. Yes, sir.
We got a question that just came in. Can you do mixed products on the same pallet?
Yes, so we can build a mixed pallet, and this is very like when I was talking about with LTL that we would probably recognize a little bit better. But I like to create mixed pallets. I can identify with that single scan multiple items, different quantities, building that on a pallet. So let me just show you that real quick. So I'm just going to build a pallet, right? You told me to go out there, and maybe you have a standard type of kit that you create when you sell to some of your customers. Say it's, I'm going to do a new pallet hill. So basically I'm building a new pallet. I'm going to put that Frito-Lay on there. I'm going to grab it from my bin. I'm going to put 10 on there, right? I'm going to hit enter. I have that same pallet number. I'm going to take some Pepsi. I'm going to take it from the correct bin, and I'm going to put 10 on there. So I could pre-build mixed pallets, or I can build pallets for shipping LTL and creating sales orders. I'll show you a little bit of that when we get to the picking part, but you can build standard mixed pallets of product there. Does that answer your question?
It looks like it did. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Pallets is phenomenal. I tend to see most of our customers at some point using that. Again, you know, a phased approach, this may be not the initial part, but to give you that more, the more efficiency and velocity that we're going to look for later on, this is a good way to help that. So we've built pallets. We do have the ability to count pallets, just like inventory counting we can do on Wisys as well. A pallet letdown is basically breaking that pallet down. So that 321 pallet that we just built, you know, I can let the product on this pallet, see those products on there, I can bring those products down and I can bring them off the pallet, separate it, and put that in an area of picking. So I could take that right to my staging area if I wanted to, where that pallet now still stays intact. That pallet doesn't get destroyed at this point, but that pallet still has those 10 popcorns on there. Again, I could let that down as well. Let's go back to some more functionality. Reminder, these objects that you're seeing here, these processes that we're doing, they may be unique. You may have unique needs here, including batch tracked items, things like that, but we can modify that using our design tools that I showed you a little bit earlier. We do have production. I'm not going to go deep into production today, but you know, we do have production backfield, production issue, receipt. We do handle production in Wisys, so if you're creating a finished product, we can do that. We can produce to pallets as well for stock. We can do make to order. Again, a lot of this stuff is customized or tailored depending on your needs, but we can use bill of materials to create production orders and do production with Wisys as well. The next thing I want to go through, I know we're getting close to the hour here, but I really want to show you how to pick, pack, and ship real quick. I know it's going to be pretty quick, but let's get into that real quick. I want to go into a sales order here.
Aaron, with us recording it, if people have to drop off, they can
drop off. Okay. Yeah. No worries. Yeah, I appreciate the time, guys, and the attention. Thank you. Into the sales order side, we do have a sales order, so I'm going to sell some of this product. I'm going to sell this to an Earthshaker Corporation here. Actually, yes, I'm going to do order 1264. In this case, Wisys does follow SAP authorizations. We will use the SAP Pick and Pack Manager. Some of you may or may not use that. We can use either. We can do it either way. Using the Pick and Pack Manager, I'm going to show you a pick list here. So I have pick lists created that I've released for this order, pick number 72. Now I can distribute that to a user. I can leave that open to any user. I can assign that to anybody that has availability. But just think of things like a wave pick. I could have multiple orders on a pick list. Today I'm just doing one order to show you how easy it is to do. And we can go deeper in a conversation with Tyson and myself to do more of a wave pick or a multiple order scenario where you're going to pick hundreds of orders and then bring them all and stage them. So I'm going to show you today a single order. I'm going to go to my handheld today. I've assigned pick list 72, and I'm going to do this, and I'll show you how it goes through, but I'm going to do a sales order picking here. So I've been assigned a pick list. I'm going to scan that pick list. I could have a piece of paper. I can look that up by user, by myself, but I'm going to validate that with SAP Business One. I'm going to do the correct order here. I'm going to validate. Again, remember that if I clear this out and I scan the wrong order, it's not going to let me continue on the form. This is where I eliminate the business decisions made by a warehouse user, and we direct them into pulling and picking the right things using scans. I'm going to scan the correct order again. I'm going to scan that first item on the order. Notice it validates that. I'm going to get that from the right bin, and I'm going to scan all 50 of those. Save that. Next item, drops to the next item. I have 50 of this one. It's going to validate it. Again, handling units of measure, batches, serial numbers can be required. We're going to do that one. Oh, sorry, did the wrong bin. See, I didn't scan the bin. I'm going to scan the correct bin, and I'm going to type 50 in and get all 50 of those. We're going to get this whole order out today. And scan my last item, which is my Frito-Lay popcorn. Scan the bin it's in, and I'm going to get 50 of those. I'm going to hit enter. Notice how I see once those all three have been picked, it says fully picked. I have hit save, and those have put it, whoop, I have saved those already. It's fully picked, and that's moved over to a staging area. So I can move that those items over to a staging area. That is a single item pick. Let's take a look at this. Let's refresh this here. We're going to say, actually, we want to look at the, what I want to see is the pick list. View pick list here. They are picked, 50 have been picked. Those are moved over to that staging area. Now we can continue with the shipping of this. Now that we've picked our items for our order, we are going to go over to our packing station in Fulfillment Manager to continue to pack and ship this order out. So let's take a look at that order again real quick. We have order 1266 that's been picked. We have Frito-Lay popcorn and Captain Morgan here, 100 of each items. What I'm going to build is a shipment for this to go out LTL. So I'll create a new shipment. I can identify a trailer or a pro number, or I do not have to. I'm clicking OK here just to bypass that. I'm going to create now here a new shipment, 146. I'm going to add a carton and pack these boxes for the product here. So I'm going to add, once I've added a carton for the first item, I'm going to add an item. I'm order 1266 here. I can look that up, but I could scan that as well. I could also type it in. The item, I'm going to scan my first item here, is our Frito-Lay. And we have that at the staging area already. And then we're going to go down here to the quantity of 100, click OK. Now we've built that carton with those products in there, all 100 into one package. I'm going to add another carton to add the second product here. The order number is 1266. The item number is going to be the Captain Morgan. It's at the staging area, all 100 of those. Now, if you notice, I have built my shipment. I have 2 cartons with 100 of each of these products in there. I could also build a pallet and build a single pallet for all these items. I could do individual items as well if I wanted to. Notice you'll see here I have my type of shipping lit up. Right here I have the LTL that's highlighted in blue, as well as UPS. Based on the order, I can send this out UPS. But first we're going to show you an LTL order here. So I'm going to click, I'm going to click LTL, but first what I'd like to show you is the bill of lading can be printed out for these products. So you'll have a bill of lading for the 2 items and the 2 packages that's created for that. This is a standard bill of lading, short form, but this can be edited or tailored by either Third Wave or WISIS to create a unique bill of lading necessary for your customers possibly. But this is a simple standard bill of lading that's created. I have package labels here to be able to be printed here. So notice here's my carton number, a standard carton number. Also have here the other Captain Morgan carton number. And I can also have UCC 128 labels created. But these also can be tailored to your customer's needs. Take a look at that. There are 2, 1 for each box there. So I've created the documents and the labeling for this product to go out LTL. What I'm going to do is hit my LTL button here. When I hit that LTL button, it can ask me for additional information like that seal number, trailer number, and pro number. I can add things like third-party freight. I can add the freight charges here, total weight, any of the information necessary to do that out. I would hit print. It will print out the bill of lading for that product. You can send that on the way. What is going to happen now, this will clear out, and now that sales order will be turned into a delivery note. Let that clear out. So if I go back to that sales order here, 1266, if I refresh it, notice I have picked those items. It is closed, 1266. let's take a look at the relationship map, and I've created a delivery note, including the information here necessary for the shipping based on sales order 1266. I have all that information here for that delivery note. So it is put back into SAP B1 after we have completed the complete shipping out the door. Now in just a second, I'm going to show you how to ship a UPS order out and to show you the direct integration into UPS, FedEx, or USPS. Now that we've shown you WISIS Agility shipping for LTL, I would like to show you next how to do small package shipping using UPS, FedEx, or USPS. Today's example I'd like to use for you is a UPS shipping, and I want to show you how to ship a sales order after we've picked it through our pick and pack manager, which is our packing station, Agility Fulfillment, and I'm going to show you that here. So we do have a sales order that we need to ship out today, 1268, and that is a sales order for us to use. We're going to go to Agility Fulfillment, just like you saw in LTL, and we're going to ship out UPS today. Depending on the sales order, that's where you determine the shipping, the way that's going to be shipped out today. So we're going to do a new shipment. We're going to ignore the trailer and the pro number because we are shipping UPS. I'm going to add a carton here. I'm going to build and pack my shipment here. So my first carton, I'm going to add my first item, and I think we had order 1268, and my first item is going to be my Captain Morgan, and we need 5 of those because that's 5s on the order. I'm going to click OK here. I'm going to add a second carton because we're going to put our popcorn in the second carton. I'm going to add the items here. Now notice it has the order number already populated. The item number is going to be scanned here. Again, validated. It's going to be validated. I could also look it up, but I'm going to scan here. And I do need 5 of these as well. So 5. Click OK. Notice I have 2 packages created here. You'll see that my package labels have lit up, and my packaging label and packaging labels have lit up. So I have 2 cartons of these 2 products for this order. If I hit package labels here, you'll see that I have an actual carton number that's created, a WISIS label for both of these items, 337. So the 2 cartons can have a unique sticker on them of saying when it was created and what's in it. And also a standard UCC 128 label can be generated as well. This can be modified by Third Wave, by WISIS here. We can help you modify these by customer or your specific needs, but this is a standard UCC 128 label based on these 2 containers here. Notice I have both of those. So I've created the shipping documents here. I now notice that UPS is lit up in color. FedEx is grayed out as well as USPS because the sales order had us use UPS ground as the shipping method. So to integrate this directly into WISIS and the shipping multi-carrier ship, I click on the UPS logo. You'll notice that my shipping information is going to pop up on the screen. I have my 2 packages, my dimensions based on the SAP item masters and their weights, but I can also use a scale to get weights here. I have my carrier that's UPS. I have my service that can be modified if I allow it. If not, it will be sent out ground via the way it's selected, but you can lock this down via rules to allow somebody to change it. I could also change the ship from and the ship to. And also we will have international shipping coming soon. But so at this point, what I'd like to do is ship this product via UPS. It's directly integrated into WISIS. If I hit the ship button, you'll see my shipping labels are populated to the screen with my ship to UPS ground. Here's my tracking information. These 2 labels can be slapped on the boxes. I have those there printed out. Also, what will happen is any documents I wish to print can be printed. I have simple packing list that is printed out for both of these boxes, and that can be put in the box when it's ready to ship out. So now that's loaded on the truck, this shipment will clear out. I'm going to go back to SAP Business One and to that specific sales order and refresh that. You'll notice that that order is now closed. Those 2 items are in gray. They have been closed out. If I do a relationship map here, it's going to show me the delivery note I created from those sales order when I did the shipment. When I drill into the delivery here, you'll notice that that information is in here. We created the delivery note for those 5 items. I hit my logistics tab and I have my tracking information from UPS right into SAP Business One automatically. You can now then email your customers with that information directly from SAP Business One and keep track of all the tracking information necessary for those packages. So all the way through from receiving to put away, we've shown you how to deliver and ship via LTL, as well as our new agility shipping direct integration with multi-carriers within WISIS. Thank you.
And if you're doing production and you want to talk about your production flow and how it could work, we're always available here at Third Wave to do a demo of that, or we can even bring Aaron in as well.
Yeah, it gets a little more specific, right? When you're talking about production, there are definitely more unique needs there. And we'd like to show you that with some of your sample data, but Tyson and I can both help you with that.
So at this point, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. And I do have one question in the chat right now for us, Aaron. And that is, do you support multi-language such as Spanish on the handheld scanners?
Yeah, so that's actually a good question that I didn't review, but within WISIS, we support the SAP language translation. So just think if you have, if you were to have different people using, so some of your staff in California may be Spanish speaking. By user, by handheld device, you can set the language translation to whatever language you need in relation to SAP. So yeah, we can support, I have customers that have offices in Montreal, so they need French, but they need Canadian French. It's a little bit different than the standard, the standard France French, Portuguese customers that we have as well. Italian, Hungarian terms. So we usually build those terms necessary for based on customer or partner. But yeah, we can support. I think if I go in device settings here today, language support is selected right here. And these are many of the different languages we support today. But if you have a unique need, we can insert that. I know we have a Caribbean company that just came on board and they have a little bit different dialect than the normal Dutch that we're used to, but yeah, there's a plethora of those. Thank you for that question.
Excellent. So Aaron, I really thank you for quickly giving us an overview, and the purpose of today's webinar is really to kind of get everybody starting to think about jumpstarting the warehouse transformation, and that's why we spent so much time up front on kind of thinking about the tools and the processes. So I'm just going to wait 10 seconds here, see if anything comes in the chat in regards to questions before I switch back to the PowerPoint. Just so that we don't have to switch between screens. I'm not seeing any other questions come in, so obviously you did a good job today.
Well, yeah, and I said we just touched the surface of WISIS. We help out in many ways, as you know, and your team is able to do WISIS as well as we can. So there's a lot of unique needs that people have, and we can help you through those processes. But at least you're thinking about change. You're thinking about transforming warehouse. There's a lot to think about. We're here for you guys, and I thank you.
I wrote down 3 things while you were presenting, and really it was kind of around the accuracy of information. You could see that you can't make a mistake because it's knowing everything that you're doing, and that's why the bin locations and the wireless infrastructure and all those types of things are required. Aaron, have you ever implemented WISIS without bin locations?
Yeah, we have. I mean, there's people that will have maybe 1 bin location or just a warehouse. Obviously, achieving that accuracy, it depends on your process, but there are some companies that don't require bins, really. They're just they have 1 storage space that they're keeping track of inventory, right? It could be a separate warehouse where it's not even a bin warehouse. They're just throwing product there as maybe an overstock area. But they identify that warehouse and there's no bin associated with it. But, obviously having bins, having locations, we really want to take out the thought process of the warehouse worker. We want to be able to train new employees, enable those employees not to think or have to have any tribal experience. We want you scanning. We want you doing this quickly, efficiently. taking the decision making out of the warehouse workers is what we want to do. So going back to your points on that PowerPoint, that's specifically what we address, right?
The other thing that I wrote down was just the tools to modify and make the screens your screens. I know we at Third Wave, we've done a lot of kind of automation, especially around production, where when I do the receipt from production, I don't want the user to have to go and do the scan to do the put away,
Yeah.
you know, those types of things. So we can automate a lot of the process and the steps using that.
Yeah, the design tools and you know the cool thing about the design tools is, of course, we can modify the existing forms, but as you grow and as you do phases of your project, you can create new forms and new processes that match, you know, business process that you do today. So, you know, when it comes to maybe RMA situations or a specific way you're going to pick, you know, this is things that you have the ability and our team and Third Wave's team can do to help. But eventually at the end of the day, you know, the company or the individual themselves have the ability possibly with training to learn these tools to do new forms themselves as well.
Yeah, and the last thing that we certainly see when we're implementing is the use of the pallets and license plating.
Oh yeah.
The use cases to do palletization, it's kind of endless. Like you kind of used a couple of examples of just cross docking or you know, putting together pre-configured palleted kits and being able to just grab that whole pallet and move it. You know, issuing to production, like there's just so many different areas where you grab a whole pallet and move it and everything moves with it, especially if you're dealing with like serialized or batch managed items. You only have to see it that way, because then you can move.
Yeah, you have everything in there. Well, what'll really blow your mind later on is when we build pallets for shipping to LTL. I mean, you're gonna eliminate 5-6 steps in your picking packing process, you know, using pallets in one single scan. Again, with that batch tracked items, I mean, when you create a pallet, you're creating a batch date even on the pallet. So your product could have batch dates, and then the pallets also has a create date. So you know when you have to use, whether using FIFO, FIFO. It gets really interesting the amount of things you can do with pallets as you go along.
Well, it looks like you've invited yourself back, Aaron. So we'll work offline on getting another webinar lined up.
Yeah, yeah, we'll do some more focused work, and we can, you know, really drill down to what, you know, some of the things people want to see. So yeah, any feedback is great, guys.
Excellent. Yeah. So on here's my phone number, my email. Reach out to me if you have questions, comments, concerns. You know, I'm always just a phone call or email away to help you. My whole job is to help you do more with your SAP Business One environment. So, Aaron, thank you for helping us kick off our webinar 2022 season, and thank you everybody for attending. And we will be sending out an email afterward, probably tomorrow at some point, with the recording and also links to the tools and things that we talked about during today's webinar. So, with that, I'm going to conclude today's webinar. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Stay connected.